You know what time it is. It's Clockwork Sports. Today we're going to be jumping into some best ball, and specifically best ball and underdog fantasy. We're going to be covering roster construction. We're going to go over their big tournament, Best Ball Mania 2. And this is like a best ball 101. So we're going to cover how best ball is different from regular season long fantasy leagues. Let's jump right into it. Best ball is a form of season long fantasy football leagues. The main difference between best ball and regular season long is you're making zero transactions in best ball. There's no trades, there's no free agents, there's no waiver wire, nothing like that. The team that you draft is the team that you end with. Barring injuries, barring bye weeks, that's the team you got. The nice thing about best ball is you don't have to set your lineup every week. Underdog is going to take your highest scoring players and insert them automatically into your lineup at the end of the week. So your lineup will always have the highest scoring players. You're not going to have to worry about your second string tight end scoring 3 touchdowns and he's on your bench because he's getting into your lineup. Now, roster construction is one of the more important details that you'll need to pay attention to while drafting. You're going to have 18 players in total. That means 18 rounds. Your starting lineup is going to consist of 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then a flex spot, which can be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. Because of that, you're going to want a lot of wide receivers on your team. You should not be leaving the draft with less wide receivers than you have at other positions. Like you want more wide receivers than running backs, more wide receivers than quarterbacks, more wide receivers than tight ends. The reason for this is you could potentially have 4 starting wide receivers every single week, whereas the other positions like running backs, the most you'll have is 3 per week with the 2 regular starting spots and then the flex spot. And then for quarterback, obviously you can only have the 1 spot that's not included in the flex spot. Tight ends very rarely will make your flex spot, but it can happen. So at most there's going to be 2 tight ends. So long story short, you're going to want a lot of wide receivers. I personally don't leave a draft with less than 8 wide receivers. As far as contests go, Underdog runs 3-man, 6-man, and 12-man contests. And those ones you can just do with the people that are in your league. You won't have to go outside of your league. Those are more like tournaments. So if you want like a more traditional experience with the best ball format, you can do a 12-man league and then top 2 get paid out from that league, similar to how most season-long leagues work. Now, the difference between these and tournaments is the regular 3-man, 6-man, and 12-mans will just be the people in your league. You won't be advancing. You won't be going on to another round. You just have to try to be the highest scoring team in your 12-man league or 6-man or 3-man, whatever it may be. So how does this tournament work? We have the Best Ball Mania 2 rules page pulled up right here on the screen. So how this is going to work, you're going to be placed into a 12-man league to draft your team. You will be competing against those other 11 people in your 12-man league and trying to get the top 2 spaces in the league for weeks 1 through 14. So you can see here, round 1 is weeks 1 through 14. That's like the regular season for fantasy football. Round 2, which is like the first week of playoffs, is week 15. Now you can see that these will be 18-person groups, and only the top 2 move on from the end of round 1. So then we get into the end of round 2, which is right here. Once again, the top 2 teams from these advanced leagues will move on to round 3. Round 3 takes place week 16. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. Round 3 is also an 18-person group, but here's the caveat: that only the top 1 team will move on to round 4. Round 4 is where the money is, the real money. It's going to be 160 people, but that's total. That's you're all in the same league, all in the same week. This takes place week 17. If you make it in those 160 teams and you're the highest scoring team week 17, you're walking with $1 million. It's that simple. All right, so we just got into this draft. We ended up with the second pick. I've kind of been finding myself liking to go at the later end of the first round and getting those 2 picks on the turn. But we're going to do this. We're going to get either Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook. Those are the top 2 players in my opinion, so I'm totally fine locking down one of them. You can see this starts in 30 seconds. And so before this starts, I just want to say I never go into a draft, preparing like who I'm going to take unless you have one of these first 3-4 picks and you can kind of map it out, who you're going to get. other than that, I really don't, predetermine who I'm going to take ever, because you never know what's going to happen. Someone could drop way farther than they deserve to be dropped. And when that happens, like, you need to take advantage. So never go into a draft saying, I'm going to get this player and I'm going to get this player. Let the draft come to you and then figure it out from there. So this guy will almost certainly take Christian McCaffrey, and if he doesn't, then we are. But I'm assuming he goes Christian McCaffrey, and then we're going to go Dalvin Cook. That's pretty much how most of the drafts are going to go. You'll see these top four guys, McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Henry, and Kamara go top four. So here you see this. We do the drop-down menu, and then we're drafting Dalvin Cook. You can see he goes right over to my team over here. This will tell you exactly how many of each position you have, and then you can go here for the full draft board. So and this is helpful. Ooh, someone took Ezekiel Elliott at 4. That's a little rich for my blood. I'd definitely go. Lost touch there for a second. So you can see we had Ezekiel Elliott go 1-4, fourth overall pick. I'd definitely go Derrick Henry over Ezekiel Elliott. I think that it's pretty clearly McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook as the top two options at running back this year, and probably top two options overall. And then Kamara and Henry behind him, or behind them. But Zeke does not crack that top 4 for me. So that's just kind of how I feel about him. We're going to be coming up here in 10 picks. And you can see a lot of these wide receivers starting to go off the board. We had Tyreek Hill, Steph Diggs go in the first round, Calvin Ridley, Hopkins, and Adams go. We're coming up here shortly. We have 4 picks before us. Already have a running back. In these early rounds, I'm really just kind of taking best player available. I'm not too worried about positional stuff quite yet. If I go with 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds, I'm almost certainly going to take a wide receiver in the third. So, and let's see, top player I have available, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. I'm going to go, I have a lot of AJ Brown, and I view these guys pretty similarly. So I'm going to go with DK Metcalf here. And then we're going to get a second pick here very, very shortly, right after these guys' first 2 picks. I wouldn't hate it if AJ Brown made it around to me. Oh, nope, there he goes. Right on cue. Najee Harris, I like him. Keenan Allen, I like him. We could go George Kittle, get tight end out of the way, get an elite tight end. But I think I'm going to go wide receiver here. I could really go with Keenan Allen or Terry McLaurin. We got 10 seconds left on the clock. They don't give us a lot of time here. But I'm going to go Terry McLaurin. Keenan Allen get a little bit older. I think I'll take my chances with the younger guy. Terry McLaurin had a really good season. Has Ryan Fitzpatrick coming to play quarterback, so he's quite the gunslinger. So I'm going to take Terry McLaurin there. And I really like this start. Dalvin Cook, DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin. In the first 3 rounds, you're always going to really like your team because every player in there is a baller. So take that with a grain of salt. So one thing I like to do when I'm not up on the clock is to kind of view the other teams and see, what positions they have a lot of, what positions they have little of. I'm just noticing that that Ben Roethlisberger went in the second round. This guy's just absolutely throwing away money. I don't know what happened there. He must be trolling, but that's pretty funny. But and then Justin Herbert in the third round. Like, this is to the guy that drafted Ben Roethlisberger. All right, this is actually really good because don't do what this guy did. This guy's throwing away money, so we don't want to throw away money. I'm actually really curious to see who he drafts next. It should be good. Yeah, for one thing, don't ever take 2 quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds. You can only start maximum of 1 quarterback per week, so that just makes 0 sense from that standpoint. And then also Ben Roethlisberger, probably at the end of his career, this has got to be like his last season. Absolutely no way you should be taking him in the second round, and no way he should be going before Mahomes and Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, all of those guys. So, and he's on the clock right now. The anticipation. Oh, Mike Evans actually it's actually a great pick compared to his last two. I would love to pick his brain and just know what he was thinking there, but I'm actually glad this happened. I haven't really seen anything like this. This dude is literally just throwing away money. So don't do this. But yeah, I'm glad that happened, and I'm glad that I'm in this league. That's pretty cool. That's got one less team to compete against. So got a few picks before us here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not predetermining a position that I'm going to take here. If someone falls to me that I like, I'm willing to get them no matter what the position is. I'd probably wait on a quarterback. I just don't like to take them this early. I think you can get some competent quarterbacks at the end of the draft that have some upside too. So I'm not predetermining a position here. I'm gonna wait to see what comes to me. You can see that a lot of wide receivers are going right now. I'm glad that we got two really good ones to start. So let's see what we're left here with 2 picks away. I actually like all of these guys in this range: DJ Moore, Miles Sanders, Chris Carson, Adam Thielen. And as I say that Chris Carson goes, I'm kind of hoping, we're going to get him. I was kind of hoping for DJ Moore there. So I'm going to take DJ Moore. I really like his upside. Should get a lot of targets. New quarterback with Sam Darnold, but same coaching staff from last year, and I like that coaching staff. I like them to put the ball in his hands. So DJ Moore as my third wide receiver is kind of ridiculous. I'm very happy with that. I would really like if Miles Sanders makes it back to me. Let's see here. If not, though, I'm happy to take another wide receiver. I think it's probably a little too early to take Mike Davis, especially when Thielen and Sanders. I did get it. So nice. So I'm going to take Sanders here. So I actually really like this start. This is where we're going to cut it off at 5 rounds. I mentioned earlier that these fast drafts can take anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. So be prepared for that. I love this start. Getting 2 really, Dalvin Cook is one of the top running backs in the league. Getting Sanders as my RB2 and then starting off with these 3 wide receivers. I think this is a really, really good way to start off your draft. Again, don't go into it thinking I'm going to take 2 wide receivers or 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers. I went into it thinking I'm taking the best player available for these first few rounds, and this is how it ended up. That's going to do it for our first video on best ball. If you enjoyed this content or want to see something else, please let me know in the comments. I'll be covering a lot of things, and I don't want to miss anything. So if there's something people are interested in, please let me know. I also have a Discord. We have almost 2,000 people in there. It's a really fun community of people who just love daily fantasy and season-long fantasy and best ball. If that sounds like you, please get in there and join us. We're going to put a link in the description, and I look forward to talking to y'all.